there. So you're thinking about making a move or relocating here to the state of Utah. Today, we're going to be talking about some mistakes that hopefully by knowing that you can avoid, it will save you hopefully a lot of time, effort, energy, and money. Let's hop into it right now. Mariah Koehle here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your very first time here. I'm a licensed and active real estate agent here in the state of Utah, and this channel is literally everything you need to know about eating, working, playing, sleeping, and living here in the Beehive State. If that's of interest to you, consider subscribing down below and make sure you tap that bell for notifications so you're notified every single week we drop a new video. We hear from people like you all the time who are looking to make a move, who are looking to relocate, buy, sell, or even build a property here in Utah, and we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about making a move in a week, in a month, or even a year from now, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and my team and I would absolutely love to connect with you. Also, if you do want a copy of our free Moving to Utah guide, simply comment down below the word guide, G-U-I-D-E, and we'd love to send that over to you. So like I said, today we are going to hop into several things that hopefully mistakes that you can avoid so that you will save money, you will save time, you will save heartache by knowing some of these things. So number one are winter maintenance costs. Yes, winter maintenance costs. Depending on where you purchase a home or where you are living here in Salt Lake or Park City or wherever that is that you are living here, sometimes and some winters are much worse than others. Some people don't realize that if you are purchasing a house, say in a really wooded sort of area, the snow removal costs or the snow removal, how intense it can be, depending on if you don't have a heated driveway, if you do have a heated driveway, if you, different things like that. I know I've had clients in the past that have said, oh, I'm looking at this certain property and I actually want to build this property in this particular area. What is it going to cost if I do want a heated driveway? So some people, especially in around the Park City area, heated driveways are more common, again, depending on where you're at, but those initial costs can be a lot. It can be a lot. And also, if you decide not to do that, again, it depends on the winter, but just the snow removal costs, the time, the effort, energy that those take. Same thing with winter maintenance with your home. Depending on the amount of insulation that you have, your heating costs can either be a lot higher, a lot lower. If your heating unit is energy efficient or not, these are all things that you're going to definitely want to look at if you are purchasing a home, or if you already have a home here. Just those winter, the insulation, the energy savings with your heating, and making sure that is up to date. So that is number one. Two is not checking the commute and traffic times. Yes, I cannot tell you how many people I have heard about, that have talked about this. They're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to buy a house in Eagle Mountain or Saratoga Springs or West Lehigh, and I will commute into Salt Lake City. Well, I'm telling you, this was 5 years ago, even 10 years ago, your commute times probably would not be that bad. It'd probably be just fine. Today, I have clients, some of them have said, oh yeah, I really want to purchase in Eagle Mountain. Eagle Mountain's a great place, but just know if you're commuting into Salt Lake City, you're going to want to check those commute times, because yes, you're going to be able to get a more affordable place in Eagle Mountain than you will in Salt Lake City. You'll be able to get a more affordable place in Saratoga Springs than you will in a lot of the other places too. Great areas, great places to live. But if you are commuting, you're going to want to 100% check those commute times, because if commuting a certain amount of time, more than 45 minutes or an hour or whatever that may be for you, you may not want that. I know for me personally, when I lived down in San Diego, I had over an hour commute each way, and I did it for over 10 years. I don't ever ever want to commute that long again. For me, that would be a deal breaker if I knew I was commuting into Salt Lake City and I knew I had, more than an hour commute. I'd be like, oh, okay, you know what? That's not going to be the right fit for me. If I knew I was working from home or doing those things, it might be the absolute perfect fit for you. So just know that about traffic and commute times as well. Another thing to consider is the growth. Yes, the growth here in Utah, so many places are expanding. Because of that, some of the schools are having a lot of overcrowding, overpopulation. With those, class sizes have jumped up. And like I mentioned, with the traffic and commuting, a lot of that has grown too. So areas like Draper, Harriman, Bluffdale, places like that where people are, moving out a little bit. Some of the roads still are only made for two lanes, but really they need 3 or 4 lanes now. So that one, with the overcrowding, with the schools and the traffic, that's another big one to consider. Number 4 is the HOA. Now, there are a lot of new communities that have a homeowners association. Sometimes people, especially, again, this is not always, but with new home construction, many of the homes are closer together, smaller lot sizes, and they do have the homeowners association. Again, not every community, not every development, but you do want to check in with those homeowner association fees. Some of those fees have really maintained and stayed very, very consistent with what they were when they started the development. Others have gone up exponentially, and depending on whether you're buying a single family home, a townhome, a condo, with those will depend on your fees as well. So I know I've had clients in the past that are like, hey, I really just want to get into the community and I want to get in kind of as cheap as I can. But oftentimes, if you are buying a townhome or a condo, your homeowners association fees are going to be exponentially higher than many of the single family homes. So over a period of time, you are going to be paying thousands and thousands of thousands more dollars by buying the townhome with the higher HOA fees. So again, you're going to want to do the math. You're going to want to run the numbers, but that is also something to be aware of. Another thing to consider is buying a home in certain areas, certain locations. I know I had a client that recently reached out and they found this property and they were like, oh my gosh, it was so cheap. The land was so cheap. The cabin that was on the land was so cheap. And they're like, how do I get this place? And what do I need to know? Well, one of the things that you should know, do your research, have your real estate agent, whether that's me or whoever you're working with, really do your homework. Some properties, especially if you see, wow, this is like an incredible price and so much lower than everything else. It may be a seasonal property, meaning there may be only access in and out of that property certain times of the year. It may be, you might not even be able to access that property 6 months of the year because of the winter conditions or the snow or whatever that might be. Know that. Number 2, the flood zones. There are some areas that have flood zones that you're going to want to know about. There are some areas that have easements through different properties, whether that's a utility easement, whether that's some other kind of recreational easement, but you're going to want to know specifically different things regarding the area that you're living in or wanting to move in. There are sometimes hidden things, and oftentimes if the price seems too good to be true, there's probably a reason why. Also, I've had people that have reached out. They're like, oh, I want to buy this piece of land. This is amazing. The price seems so incredible. Again, you're going to want to check, is it zoned for, we want to check really the zoning. Is it zoned for commercial? Is it zoned for residential? Is it zoned for recreational land? A lot of times here in Utah, there will be land that is so cheap and it is only for recreational use, meaning you cannot build a home on that land. You cannot build a building on that land. So again, you're going to want to check out what the zoning is for that particular property. Also, budgeting costs for different times of the year. Different times of the year, again, if your property needs snow removal and you're not able to remove the snow, you're going to want to think about that too, simply because those costs can add up. But also on this, I feel like this is a positive thing for many people too. Here in Utah, a lot of times for the outdoor, the irrigation water, it gets turned off usually in the middle of October and doesn't get turned back on until sometime in the middle of April. So you've got usually about a 6-month window of time where your water is completely shut off outside of the home, unless it is more of that culinary use, but the irrigation water is turned off for 6 months. So for some people, they're like, oh, this is great. I'm not paying for that additional, water expense outside, and you're not paying for the additional yard expense or your time for that too. So going along with that one, a lot of times people can save money during those 6 months that they're not either paying for their yard maintenance, or they are saving time by not doing the yard maintenance themselves, because a lot of the grass and everything kind of goes dormant during the winter months. So that is a cost savings. But on the other hand, you might be using that for snow removal or a snow plow, or your time that it is taking to plow out some of that. So just know that also as a cost, but also maybe a time save too. Last but not least, seasonal visits. Yes, seasonal visits. Now, I know from hearing from lots of different people, seasonal visits can be phenomenal. And I know I have a lot of friends and clients and whatnot that have come out here to Utah during the winter time, and they're like, oh my gosh, we ski Park City every single year. It's the most magical thing. We're so, it's so much fun. They're on vacation mode, right? They're on vacation mode. It's great. They're loving it. But there's some people, if they were actually to come to Utah and live day to day in the snow in the winter for months on end, it may not be their thing. It might be too cold. It might be too dry. It might be this, that, or the other. So know that, come at different times during the year so you can get a good feel of what it actually might be like to live in a certain area. Also, same thing. I've had clients that have come out here in the summertime and everything is just gorgeous and green and lush and looks amazing. And they decide to purchase a home in an area that might be a little bit less expensive, and it might have spectacular views, and it might have all these different things. But in the winter time, the snowbanks could be so high and they get so much more snow in different places like that. So you really want to get an idea of what that area would be like. Again, talk to your local expert, talk to your local real estate agent. Reach out to me if you have questions, because just knowing some of those different people that too, where they want to purchase in a certain place. And I will say, this is a phenomenal community. This is a great area, but just know it also gets really, really windy too. Utah is a very windy state. And I know sometimes people are like, oh, I had no idea that it was this windy in this area, or this community, or I had no idea that the winter inversion in and around Salt Lake City was like this certain times during the year. So again, hopefully some of these different things, whether it's the commute time, the traffic, the affordable land, and knowing what it's zoned for, whether it's recreational land, knowing maybe some hidden costs with maintenance and insulation or snow removal, the inversion. I mean, there's so many different things that I do feel like talk to somebody who can be your boots on the ground so that you will have so many less surprises. I know, when my family and when we moved here, we actually moved, more, we didn't know some of these things. And so looking back on it, I went, oh, I would have loved to know that during the winter time, it's cold, like it's really cold. I would have loved to know during, certain times of the year, it gets so windy that our trash cans are like blowing into our neighbor's yard. I'd love, I didn't realize why so many people have an in-ground trampoline. It's because Utah's really windy. So all these different things, hopefully this will save you some time, some effort, some energy, and in the long run, some money to help you in your move. So again, if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to my team and I. We hear from people like you all the time, and we absolutely love it. And if you do want a copy of our free Moving to Utah guide, simply comment down below the word guide, GUIDE, and we'd love to send that over to you. Wishing you a fantastic rest of your day and week, and we'll chat with you soon. Take care and have a great one. Bye.